All right, so here we are. We're just counting the weekends because as you go through the season, you lose track of days. So much happens so quickly. So 2 weeks of setup. Remember when we go back and start looking at day 1 to day 10. So we're in the 4th selling weekend. It's Sunday. It's 77 degrees, kind of hot and muggy, and we have sold 12 trees today. We anticipated to sell 40. Everybody's working back to back to back, day jobs and also the lot. So that's one thing to point out about the Christmas tree business. Sometimes it becomes really long and really frustrating, and you get tired and you get moody. And these are the things that are the reality of a tree lot. But it comes and it goes, and you walk over and you smell the trees. And look at this. We're, what did I say, six weeks into it, 4 weeks in, and it bends, and I'm like, it will not snap because it's in water. So the reality is, as we walk through, and John will pan out, all our big hangers were down to really just one, and that one actually sold this morning for quote unquote cash instead of a personal check, and they didn't come back. So learning lesson is take the personal check, don't wait for the cash from the ATM. But that's the last really big tree that we have left. That one is probably 13 foot. These here, a handful that are left, are 910s, would typically go in the tent, and they will go in the tent. But out of 1,250 trees, if we have our count right, and I didn't go through and personally count them, but we know how many are on the stand straights and in water. That's really important. 230 are left. Our theory and our goal is to have plus or minus 10%, because we feel like we want a really great experience for as many people as we can. So if you chip or don't sell 10%, you're still gaining that customer if we're doing what we try to do each year over year. And statistically, the math works out better. For me personally, I hate to see any tree not go to a home. And every year we say we're going to donate them. But the reality is you get to the end and it's really hard to have that enough energy to find that. Hopefully we will this year. But really, we've got one more week left. Our lease in this area is up on the 20th. So now we have to quickly, as quick as we built it up, and it's almost crazy. You build it up, you go for 3 really good weeks. Now this is the 4th week, and we're gonna have to chip away on each customer that comes in. But we also have to logically and logistically figure out how to tear down, and that's what we're gonna look at now. I do wanna point out, week 1, those customers love real trees. They love our freshness. They're year over year customers, so there's no haggling. There's no dispute on pricing. Week 2, same thing. Week 3, it might be the first time tree owner or tree experience. By week 4, it's pretty customary that they ask for a discount. So you have to get a little bit more sales orientated, better negotiating minds out there. And it's just, you got to work harder to sell the tree in week 4 than you do in week 1. But as we walk through, we're sitting in real good shape. As we looked in week 1 and week 2 of setup, the bins look identical, right? We worked really hard to get them set up. Now they're empty. That's where we want them. And this week, our day staff will start deboarding and take the shade cloth off and make sure that it's color coded. So then next year we know this entire stall, and we've already earmarked we're going to get one more bigger, because we're already starting to play with the numbers for next year while it's fresh in your mind. But this will all start coming down. Thank God that it's empty. That means as of now, if the math is right, over 1,000 people have the perfect Christmas tree experience. So we're really stoked about that. Here you can see, and it's kind of phenomenal. These are just left out in the sun, but because we work so hard with our farm partners to have fresh trees, and it's been a really kind of cloudy, mild year, but very much green on them. But what we do here is we let people come and take them for free. It helps us with the cleanup. There are some people that will cut these and make wreaths. We just sell so many that we can't do that, or make swags. So that's how we handle this. And that's ultimately, if we don't sell the trees, it will come into this pile and we'll get a grapple truck, and then they'll get recycled for mulch. So it's still very sustainable as far as we're concerned. So if you remember, during the peak weekends, we had hundreds of trees stacked here to get into the tent. We're down to the fourth weekend and we've got 2 on the ground. So in the next hour, everything will be standing in the tent. And then it's really Operation Wind Down. So it's kind of bittersweet because you're working so many hours to make so many clients and customers really happy, and the smell and the experience and the Santa and all the emotion through it. We're really tired, but we got to work really hard in the next 10 days to do a proper shutdown. John will follow me, and what we're really proud of, you know, our wreaths, because we keep them well. You got a couple needles falling off of them, but they're fresh as fresh can be still. You've got to know what you're doing. You got to make sure that this stuff really stays in the shade, and then work with great producers of the handmade wreaths. And then we're down to a tent full. So what will start to happen as soon as tomorrow, where it used to be every time you sell a tree, you fill a peg. Now the reverse happens. You sell a tree and you start taking down the stand straights. And there'll be a couple, let's be honest, look like this one. It looked like we left that out in the sun a little bit. Still fresh, but it got burnt, so needle drop. So it's not ideal. But again, that haggle or the negotiation, somebody might want a tree for 30 bucks. This would be the one that they put in the corner, and you can still make them happy. So you have to work, as I say, a little bit harder at the end to sell every tree as much as you can. And again, we shoot for about 10%, plus or minus, but that's what it comes down to at the end. You've got to work just a little bit harder. But there's still a great selection. Last year, we had a really big problem of getting big trees, or 8-foot and over trees. This year, we probably still have 50. So we're really excited about that, because to do the numbers from now until the 20th or the 18th, whenever we close, you need to have big trees, which we didn't last year. So everything is in water, so we feel like we've done a great job at that. They're fresh, and now we'll work a little bit harder to try to find every tree the perfect home.